Intercessors are the backbone of the modern Space Marine chapter, offering tactical flexibility, rapid response, and also just being generally useful in most situations. They are a great asset to any Space Marine commander who uses them. Hello everybody, my name is Spoons Rattling, and today we are covering the Intercessors given their recent update, or semi-recent, it's been a couple months now. The Intercessors come in at 80 points for 5, or 10 for 160. They move 6 inches, their toughness 4 with a 3+ save, 2 wounds, leadership 6+, and OC2. Standard Space Marine grunt stat line. In terms of ranged weapons, they're all equipped with bolt pistols and rifles. The bolt pistol is one attack that hits on 3s at 12-inch range with strength 4, AP 0, damage 1, nothing special. The bolt rifle is assault and heavy, which means you can advance and shoot or stand around to be more accurate. 2 attacks that hit on 3s at 24-inch range with strength 4, AP 1, and damage 1. The standard plasma pistol profile is one attack that hits on 3s at 12-inch range, with strength 7, AP 2, and damage 1. Solid enough for shooting at armored infantry, and you can overcharge it to go up to strength 8, AP 3, damage 2. Good chance to blow up a Space Marine. The Hand Flamer has Torrent and ignores cover, D6 attacks that auto hit at 12-inch range with strength 3, AP 0, damage 1. Slightly pointless given their special rule, and also strength 3 just hurts. Grenade Launcher has 2 profiles. It is an underslung grenade launcher. Frag is Blast with 24-inch range with D3 attacks that hit on 3s. Strength 4, AP 0, and damage 1. The Crack profile is 24-inch range with 1 attack that hits on 3s at strength 9, AP 2, and damage 3. Solid enough little extra armor punch with the Crack grenades, and frags are useful when you're targeting things like Gretchen. In terms of melee weapons, the Power Fist has 3 attacks that hit on 3s at strength 8, AP 2, and damage 2. The Chainsword has 5 attacks that hit on 3s at strength 4, AP 1, and damage 1. The Power Weapon has 4 attacks that hit on 3s at strength 5, AP 2, and damage 1. The Close Combat Weapon the squad is equipped with is 3 attacks that hit on 3s at strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. The Thunder Hammer is Dev Wounds, 3 attacks that hit on 4s at strength 8, AP 2, and damage 2. Out of these, I'd say the Power Fist is the best. Though you can bring a couple melee weapons on the Sergeant, so if you wanted to, you could, say, bring Chainsword Power Fist for a bit of mixed roll. In terms of abilities, they do have OBSEC, which means if they control an objective at the end of your command phase, they can it remains under your control until an enemy unit takes it from you. Target Elimination is their other special rule, which allows them to add 2 to their bolt rifle's attack characteristic if they do not split fire. They can do this every time they shoot, which makes it very enticing because it doubles your damage output, which makes it very good for clearing things like 1-wound infantry and just stacking saves in general. Unit comp is standard, 1 Sergeant, 4 to 9 Intercessors. Every model is equipped with a bolt pistol, bolt rifle, and close combat weapon. The Sergeant may replace his bolter with one of the following: a Chainsword power weapon, plasma pistol, and hand flamer. The Sergeant may replace his bolt pistol with one of the following, either a Chainsword, power weapon, power fist, or thunder hammer. And for every 5 models, you can bring a grenade launcher. For your Sergeant, I'd say that bolt rifle and power fist is just a very solid one that's hard to go wrong with, but all the melee weapons have their bonus points, so to speak. Moving on to the insane list of characters that can lead Intercessors, we start off mainly with the chapter agnostic ones, if you will. The Ancient is cheap, extra OC is a little bit overkill. He does have a bolt rifle, which does benefit from the +2 attacks, but then he'd be giving up his melee. Probably not the most useful unless you just need a character and don't care what it is and just need it for the cheapest possible. The Ancient's your guy. The Apothecary lets you to stand up models again after they get destroyed, which is nice, though better suited for more dangerous things like Hellblasters. The Captain, Blood Angel's Captain, and Marshal all bring extra melee and a little bit of extra shooting. Their free strats are good if you want Intercessors to be your top dogs in terms of damage, though in most cases are excessive for these standard grunts. Most of the Chaplains fall under this sort of, they offer good melee buffs, but these guys don't have it. I just listed Asmodai and Chaplain here. As even though they have different buffing rules, same things apply. Same with the Judiciary. Librarian gives them access to Librarius Conclave, which is definitely very nice. A 4+ Invulnerable is great, just for a little bit of extra durability against things like plasma guns and heavy bolters. Well, not necessarily heavy bolters, but you get what I mean. Just damage to weaponry in general. Moving on to our next step, we have the Lieutenant and Castellan. Lethal hits is pretty nasty with the possible 40 attacks. Just through stacking saves, they'll no doubt damage anything in the game. The Tech Marine doesn't like to lead things, but if you just desperately need a bodyguard for a Tech Marine for whatever reason, Intercessors do the job amicably, just being cheap and tough with some decent shooting. The Sanguinary Priest gives you +1 AP in melee and a 5+ feel no pain. The +1 AP does make them efficient enough melee damage dealers, but his buffs go a lot further on units that are already good in melee compared to just okay in melee. Azrael gives you Sustained Hits 1, which is definitely pretty fun. A 4+ Invulnerable is also nice, but he's better suited to higher threat units, I'd say. Ezekiel is a highly specialized character, and he wants to be in melee with dedicated melee units for his buff to go a long way, and also because he wants to be carving up in Chaos Knights, mainly because of his big anti-Chaos 2+, which makes him very specialized. Lazarus is awful, but he can lead them. He just does not offer anything of value to Intercessors, though. That's just the truth of the matter. Moving on, we have yet more characters to cover. There's quite a few people that can lead Intercessors, that is to be certain. And next up we have, I believe it is Ragnar Blackmane. He gives you Advance and Charge, which is nice as you already have Assault, which allows you to advance and shoot. He's a fine spot here, but I'd say he's far better off with more dangerous Space Marines in melee. The Emperor's Champion is just really crazy in melee, but doesn't give anything to the unit itself, and prefers a unit that buffs him like Assault Intercessors. Chaplain Grimaldus is pretty similar to Asmodai and the Sanguinary Priest, having both their special rules of +1 AP and rerolling hit rolls. The buffs help them fight better, but he just wants to be with something that fights better already, just to push them even further. Helbrecht, his buffs don't do that much for Intercessors, even though he is insanely powerful. He should not lead these guys, it's just not the place for him. Titus, I'd say, is solid enough. Sustained Hits is nice for horde clearing, though he might want a little bit more melee muscle with things like Power Fists or something similar to that, to complement his own horde clearing Chainsword, since he's so good at killing infantry already. Moving on to the next batch of characters, we do have the rest of the Codex characters, so to speak, for the various chapters in Codex Space Marines, ignoring the Divergent ones. Starting off with Adrax Zagatone, he wants more melee might for his own power. Definitely not the place for him to be. He does not want to lead a bunch of shooting grunts. Marnius Calgar is a melee monster, as is Crisaro Khan, though less so. They want to be with melee units. And Uriel Ventress, I'd say he's fine with these guys. They make a solid enough bodyguard for him while he hands out his Deep Strike to some Blade Guard veterans, or something along those lines. Whatever you're using Uriel for, these guys make a cheap, effective bodyguard for him, that is to be sure. Next we have the Legends options. Corbulo of the Blood Angels is just a more dangerous Sanguinary Priest for cheaper. Same things apply here. Captain Tycho, as much as I love him, actually does have a solid place here for once. You can give them Rapid Fire 1, which just lets you bump your Intercessors up to 5 attacks apiece in the shooting phase, which is very nice, and the Dead Man's Hand lets them rip through hordes very efficiently. Gabriel Seth wants a melee unit, and also why would you have Gabriel Seth with a Primaris unit? Seems a little contradictory. And the Company Champion is Legends, and again, wants to be with a melee unit so they're not just throwing themselves at enemies in combat for no particular reason. Moving on to detachments, of course, there are quite a few less of those to cover in relation to these Intercessors here. First up, Gladius. They can get sustained hits through Fire Discipline, which is certainly nice with all those attacks. Getting +1 AP and ignores cover can spell the end for units that hide behind AP reduction. Anvil, you can get +1 to wound when shooting things other than the Oath Moment target, which is definitely nice. Battle Drill Recall can allow for just hilarious amounts of dice being thrown. And ignores cover from the enhancement is also solid because of their low AP. Ironstorm, they can act as a cheap, dangerous screen that prevents hordes from gumming up your tanks, which is very nice. It's something that you definitely need in Ironstorm. Firestorm gives you +1 strength, good for mirror matches against orcs, and mirror matches and against orcs. Stormlance gives a command point for sustained hits, which is definitely nice. Advance and Charge is good for bullying guardsmen. Vanguard gives you a nice durability boost, and +1 AP from a strat at range is definitely nice. They're not veterans, so no first company. And Librarius Conclave is pretty good. Fusillade is nice with all those attacks, but all of the buffs like the extra movement, toughness, speed, rerolls, they're all very good on Intercessors, as they are on every Space Marine unit for that matter. Moving on to the next step, which will be the Divergent chapters. They can only gain Deathwing through Azrael, which I'd say is a waste of that ability, so not much reason to put him there. Shooting back and Unforgiving can definitely be fun with how many attacks they have, though. Black Templars can give them a Feel No Pain or Invulnerable save, which are both much appreciated, and the melee buffs are handy for them to just push a little further into being a well-rounded generalist unit. Blood Angels with Liberator's Assault Group is great just for bullying Toughness 3 infantry. And good horde clearing at range is nice for your Sanguinary Guard. And the Space Wolves Seef the Black Templars. They play not necessarily similar, but their detachment rules are offering a lot of the same things, just to be honest. Moving on to competition, first up we have the Assault Intercessors, of course, which would be the melee version of these guys. Then it comes back to the melee versus ranged debate. They do very similar damage, just given the similar amount of attacks they have. Though Assault Intercessors also offer a buff to whoever is leading them, which is definitely nice. They work well together because, again, sticky objectives is always really good. And just having the Assault Intercessors clear a objective and then having Intercessors tag it for the sticky objectives is really good. So while they may be competing to be grunts, they actually work well together, as all the Intercessors do. Heavy Intercessors are good on raw toughness, and damage 2 makes them more effective at sitting around and shooting at enemy Space Marines. But again, with the sticky objectives, the regular Intercessors pair perfectly with them. These guys tag the objective, and then the heavy Intercessors sit around and protect it from enemy infantry, because their own damage output is still very good, even if they don't have the sheer amount of attacks that the regular Intercessors, in fact, have. That covers the two core Intercessors. I don't think Tactical Marines are really competing with them just because of the way their datasheet works, so I didn't include them. But we do need to move on to the next page of competition, which is just one chapter-specific unit. It is the Firstborn Grey Hunters, as the Space Wolves have not had their release yet at the time of making this video. The Grey Hunters overall are definitely a worse unit, as they just don't really have much in terms of help. The special weapons can definitely be very nice to give a slight damage boost against enemy armor with like 2 melta-guns, but I would say that they're just overall much worse. Their overall damage output is not very good. Their melee is significantly worse. They're very expensive compared to well, not very, but they're more expensive than Intercessors. It just makes Grey Hunters rather unattractive as a unit, but who knows, with their update in the new Codex that's coming out soon, they may actually overtake Intercessors, or maybe they'll just straight up replace them in the Codex, who knows. Moving on, we have to just wrap up my thoughts on Intercessors, and in my opinions of Intercessors are pretty high. Intercessors are just masterclass grunts, really. They blast away most enemy battle line with little issue. Things like Custodes could give them trouble, and they can stack saves on anything just through sheer weight of numbers. Especially in Codex armies, and they make short work of enemy hordes like Gretchen or Tyranids, and as I mentioned, they stack saves very well. Their objective game is second to none. Just tagging objectives makes your army a lot more consistent, especially should whoever is protecting that objective die. Again, it still remains under your control, so having 1 or 2 units of Intercessors is hardly going to do you wrong, because they're so hard to go wrong with. These are supposed to be the beginner unit, very easy for beginners to understand what they do, and the role battle line fills in the game. Anyways, I've been Spoons Rattling. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.